Most men go through life believing that to get a woman truly interested, they need to talk more, express more, explain every feeling that moves inside them. They think being emotionally available means opening up everything, telling her how much they like her, how much they think about her, how they want to make her feel secure every minute of the day. But that's the trap that makes women feel suffocated without them even realizing it. Because in her world, in the part of her mind where attraction and desire live, words are not what create emotional obsession. It's how you say things, the space you give her, the moments you choose not to speak that pull her in deeper. Men think they're building a connection by constantly checking in, updating her on what they're doing, replying instantly to every message, showing her how much they care, how available they are, thinking that it will bring her closer. In her emotional mind, it reads as overexposure, as you being fully available before she is even invested. What a woman fully has, she stops craving. Obsession can only grow where there is mystery, space, and room for her to wonder. The man who doesn't rush to fill every silence, who allows pauses to stretch out, who chooses his words carefully, not to please, but because he means them, becomes the man who enters her mind and stays there. You don't have to be cold, but you have to be calm. You don't have to be distant, but you have to value your presence enough to not throw it at her in every moment you feel the urge to connect. It is in that restraint that she feels your value. It is in the quiet moments that she begins to lean. In seeking, wondering, wanting to know what you're thinking, that is where true attraction begins. Asterisk men often believe that if they just give more, love harder, text faster, and show up constantly, they will win her heart and keep her interested. They think that by sending long paragraphs and constant reassurance, they are building romance, but they are quietly destroying desire without even realizing it. When a woman has full access to your mind and your attention, when she can predict every reply before it comes, she starts to feel that she already has you, fully and completely. And what is fully owned cannot be deeply desired. She doesn't sit around wondering what you're thinking because you've already told her everything. She doesn't wait for your texts because you've made them predictable, expected, routine. The man who creates space instead of closing it, who pauses before replying, who lets silence carry weight, who allows moments of uncertainty to exist, becomes the man who starts to live in her mind. It's not that she wants you to ignore her or treat her poorly. It's that she craves the tension that comes from anticipation. When you respond immediately every time, there is no anticipation. When you spill every feeling the moment it appears, there is no curiosity left for her to chase. The men who know how to hold back, to move slower, to create moments where she questions what you're thinking or what you feel, give her a reason to lean forward emotionally. Instead of seeking validation through words, high-value men allow their presence to create desire and their energy to speak for them without needing constant explanation. She starts replaying your moments together, reading into your silences, dissecting your brief messages, trying to understand you, and in that process, she invests. She begins to create stories in her mind, and those stories turn into feelings, feelings that grow into desire, desire that becomes emotional addiction. Asterisk, texting is where most men lose the game before it even begins. They think that replying fast, being available, and showing eagerness will show her that they care and that she is a priority. But what they fail to see is that every quick reply, every emoji-laden message, every eager good morning text silently tells her subconscious that you have nothing else going on, that your world is orbiting around her, that your attention is cheap because it is always available. The feminine mind doesn't crave constant certainty. It craves moments of wonder. She wants to feel that slight twist in her stomach when you leave her on red for a while. It's not because you are playing games, but because you are genuinely engaged in your life. The man who knows how to delay without ignoring, how to tease without disrespect, how to give a compliment without making it worship, becomes the man who enters her thoughts when she is at work. When she's out with friends, when she's lying in bed alone, your pauses, your calm silences, your choice to not flood her with words, these build tension in her mind. She begins to analyze your messages, trying to find deeper meanings. She starts to check her phone to see if you've replied. To read into your one-sentence replies, wondering if you're busy, if you're talking to someone else, if you're thinking about her. And in that wondering, she is investing energy, and that energy is what builds emotional attachment. The man who understands that attraction grows in the gaps, in the spaces between words, in the moments of uncertainty, in the delayed replies and brief messages, becomes the man she cannot stop thinking about. How your silence creates emotional presence that constant words never could. Asterisk women connect through words, but they fall in love in the quiet spaces between them. Men often speak to fix, to solve, to fill silence, but in the dance of attraction, the man who knows how to use silence and brevity, who knows how to let tension build without rushing to dissolve it, is the man who becomes unforgettable. Most men fear that if they do not reply instantly, if they do not constantly reassure her, if they do not open up fully, they will lose her. But in trying so hard to keep her, they remove the very tension that makes her want to stay. When you are calm in your energy, when you do not rush to fill her every emotional need, when you allow her to sit in her feelings without trying to fix them for her, you teach her that your presence is not for everyone, and it is not given cheaply. She feels it when you pause before you speak. You take a few hours to reply, not because you're playing games, but because your life is full. She feels it when you listen without immediately giving her your full mind, when you let her experience her emotions without you trying to rush in and solve them. His presence becomes power in her eyes, not because you are withholding to punish her, but because you are measured in how you give yourself. This is what creates the feeling of masculinity that she cannot get from men who over-explain, overshare, and overcompensate. She begins to feel your presence even in your silence. She starts telling her friends about you, replaying your words in her mind, analyzing your tone, remembering your pauses. She feels your confidence, your calm, and your unshakable energy, and it draws her in deeper, making her crave more of what she can never fully possess. Asterisk. The men women obsess over aren't the ones constantly flooding them with messages or attention. They are the ones who remain slightly out of reach, whose energy feels like a calm storm, whose words arrive with weight, not desperation. Women may get attention from many men, but it's the one who communicates with intention and quiet certainty that keeps her up at night, thinking about him, wondering why his silence feels louder than anyone else's words. He doesn't rush to explain himself, doesn't try to fix every moment of discomfort, doesn't overshare to gain approval. His mystery isn't an act, it's a natural result of living a life he values, a life that doesn't revolve around seeking validation from her. His attention feels rare, and that scarcity breeds desire. She starts to lean in, to seek, to question, replaying his brief texts, trying to decode them, sharing screenshots with her friends to analyze what he meant. She begins to feel the anticipation each time she picks up her phone, hoping it's him, and when it is, it feels like a small victory in her day. He doesn't give her everything at once, lets her discover him layer by layer, and this slow unfolding creates an emotional addiction that no amount of constant attention can replicate. She feels the difference between him and others because he doesn't try to impress her. He simply expresses himself when he wants to on his terms. With calm energy that feels grounded, his presence creates tension, and that tension becomes the emotional glue that keeps her attached. While words are temporary, the emotional states he creates remain in her, making her miss him in moments of quiet. This is how obsession begins, not through trying to be perfect, but by being intentional, calm, and unhurried. Letting your rare energy become the craving she can't shake.